Okay. Welcome to the Week 2 Huddle session. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that you take the time here to spend with me. There's a couple of things I'd like to go over, and it has to do with the announcements first and foremost. So I update this. You can see that I've been in here already 4 times. I like to write. This one's closed to you right now. It'll be posted on the 23rd, but you can see from my screen that I am listing the DeVry live sessions, and if you plan to go to this Monday session, I will now make it a habit to put in here in advance the link, because we had the email was out and people didn't know where to link to, and I couldn't contact you. And I think, Cassie, did you wind up getting in? She's there, sort of. Okay. Cassie?
Yes.
Yeah, did you wind up getting in at the last minute? You did? Okay. You can put that back on mute now. So this will open up on the 23rd, and then if you plan to go to this meeting, then you could just click right here to go to it. Alexis is asking me for the Nearpod code, so if you excuse me for a moment, I just want to shoot this up here. VQNEC, Alexis. VQNEC. Okay. So there's that. Then the question becomes, well, if I can't attend the live meeting, is there a recording? So yes, and now they're getting it together here. And right here where it says weekly DeVry live sessions and recordings, this will be up the whole semester. You're going to click on DeVryTutors.com. Okay, and here will be, again, the recording links, right? So if you missed this week's recording, and I think you should look at it, especially for the career services overview, because you're having a quiz on it, and they even say don't try to get 100%. Don't stress about it. It's not a major assignment. I'm sure you want to do well, but you can have anything open. Like you can have the career services portal open. They'll show you how to get into that. They'll tell you what to read in order to understand better what the quiz questions might be on. It's not a terribly difficult exam. So you only have 30 minutes in it, so you don't want to spend an inordinate amount of time toggling between tabs on your computer. But do look at the recording. So when you click on this view recording, it's going to ask you for your name. It'll say, I want to play back. And then it asks you for some personal information like what your email address is, what my name is, where you're calling in from, etc. Okay, and then you could play it back. So if you haven't looked at that, you probably do want to do that. And again, those are going to be available in the announcements for the whole term. Also, if you haven't looked yet, I do post, and I was able to get in there and grade your stuff early this week. So I will post when your grades have been posted so that you can go in there and look at that. I've never used Canvas from the student side, so I wanted to know if you could tell me, when I grade something, do you get an alert in your email that something is graded for you?
I got an email notifying me that the grades were posted.
Okay.
I got an email from you that said that you graded and what I needed to work on. I got that.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's great. And then, a couple of people made some errors in the assignment last week. Either they didn't hand in the chart or they didn't hand in the reflection. No big deal. I'll just say, hey, can you get this to me by Wednesday? I won't take off any points. It's your first week of class. But certainly I noticed that they're stressing in the Monday webinar and the Monday WebEx that, there's an assignment due this week. It does have a reflective piece. It's not just about reading. So make sure that you're reading all of the directions. And if you get confused, always go back to the welcome. Okay, and this week I thought there were so many moving parts. I actually made a little video, a screencast for you, so that I walk you through what has to be done. If you haven't taken a look at this, again, we're talking about time management this week. This is a good thing to look at. And, you know, anything I can do to ensure that you're successful, that's what I'm going to do. So it takes me a couple of minutes to put this together, so what? If it helps you, that's what I want. Any questions so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So this week, the really big deal, obviously, you taking a quiz. I suggest you do that towards the end of the week, only because you want to have time to review that material in the recording if you haven't done so already. You have a self-assessment assignment, and that's what I want to look at a little bit more in depth. Not really hard, but this is it. That you see on the screen right now. So it says an assignment you will submit this week is the time management assignment. This week is the right place and time to talk about time management. Still early enough in the session to resolve any issues that may affect your success. And it asks you to go to Success U. When you go here, you're going to log in, and you're going to see a menu just like this here. You're going to go down to Time Management and launch the course. These will do in time, but right now you're concerned only with this. So don't go to that page and watch every single one of these. You're going to watch narrated PowerPoints this week in time management only. Then it says, in your completed assignment, describe your approach to managing your time. I mean, you're already doing that in the discussion. It's perfectly okay to borrow what you've written in the discussion and put it into this reflection. Then discuss some of the issues that impact your time management the most. We're also going to discuss that in the discussion, so you'll probably have that done as well. And then finally describe 2 strategies that you can implement to more effectively manage your time. And if you only have one, maybe it's worth looking at the voice threads, listening to the voice threads of your peers in the discussion and see what they're doing. And you certainly could try to develop something like that. So this isn't terribly hard. How long would I expect this to be? You know, if you're typing it in Word, I don't know, maybe a page double-spaced. You know, it's not terribly long. Some people like to write 2 pages. That's just what they're used to. They like the essay format, and that's perfectly fine. Some people are only going to give me 3 paragraphs, exactly what's being asked here. You know, how do I approach it? What are my strategies, and what could I do to kind of get better at time management? And that's all they'll do. But you want to think that a paragraph is, you know, 5, 7 sentences, you know, as a general rule. I also want to point out that for the first time we're seeing a grading rubric, and this is how I have to grade you. In fact, next week I'm going to be putting the grades in and referring back to this chart and saying, okay, you either scored a 40, a 30, okay, a good or a fair. I certainly don't want to give anyone a 10 or a 0, but this is for reflecting on time management behaviors. So this tells you how I'm going to grade you and what I'm looking for. You have 2 to 3 paragraphs. You've discussed 2 strategies. This is a contract between me and you that this is how I'm going to grade that portion of the assignment. And then you have up to 10 points here on writing mechanics and grammar. I mean, I'm a writing mechanic and grammar snob because I'm an English major and I have degrees. So I would probably make this worth more, but I can't because the rubric says I can only give up to 10 points. So your 40 points are going to be here, and your 10 points are going to be there, and the most you could get is 50 points on this assignment. So this breaks down also what would be a good, a fair, a poor, or an incomplete in terms of writing mechanics and grammar. Any questions on this?
Yeah.
Great. So that's all tied into the same document. You don't have to go to 2 different places to find it. In some classes that you'll have in the future, the rubrics will be in in the files area, and you'll have to go look for it, or your instructor might point you to it. But in this case, they put them in one document.
I have a question. When you go to write the essay or whatever the when you
Mhm.
guys answer the questions, is it gonna automatically pull up the document, or do you have to go in and kind of find it and put it together?
No, it's right. It's in fact I did it. I went right to the skills. I'm sorry, the time management assignment. I was looking at week 1, so I'm sorry. I
Okay.
meant week 2. So you're going to click on this,
Mhm.
and then right here, when you click on this, it will open exactly the way you saw it on my screen before.
Cool.
Okay, and they even have the link here to Success U, where you're going to watch that 10-minute presentation. So you'll click on this
Oh,
first,
cool.
and then you'll do that. So
Okay.
this should be pretty easy, 50 points, and I want to give the full 50 points to everybody. You know, I want you to feel confident that you're meeting all the goals and requirements of the class. So while we're talking about time management, we're doing this also in the discussions. I have a little different way to get into the discussions, so bear with me here. Okay, and this class, one thing you're not short of is words. You guys like to write, you like to talk, and it's really awesome. Okay, so I posted my video thread here, my voice thread here. Some people aren't doing that. They're kind of requiring you to do it. Will you lose points if you don't post it? No, but I think you should try at some point to do a voice thread, because you may get into classes where you must do one. So you're going to go here to the voice thread area. In the announcements last week, I also put in the directions for posting voice threads. So if you're confused, go back to those directions, and I think that will help you out. So if you wanted to reply to this, you'd click on it. And if you wanted to do an audio reply, I swear this works. You will click right here, and then you would click on the microphone, and that's how you would do an audio reply. But what the directions say is make your own and then respond to other people's voice threads with words. So we don't want all voice threads the whole week, but you can, you know, make an informed decision on how you want to post and what you want to do. Some people aren't doing the voice threads. I'm not going to take off points if you don't do it. Okay, and then again, in the announcements area, because I am getting some email, I just want to point out to you where I posted the voice thread directions. Right here, how to post a voice thread video. Okay? So let's move on to something more interactive. We're going to go over to Nearpod. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now because I can't run this at the same time. And you should all be logged into Nearpod. Okay? So we're talking about time management. Maybe we should start off with what is time management? It's the process of organizing and planning how much time you spend on specific activities. But we all know that sometimes you can say, I'm going to do this in a half hour, and an hour and a half later, you're still sitting there. I know I do this with grades as well. I say, I'm going to get these banged out in a half hour, and if it's something really heavy, like 5-page papers, and I have 10 to go, I sometimes look for ways to distract myself. If you'll excuse me for a moment, Alexa said the code doesn't work. Are you sure you're putting in the right code? It's right up here in the left, VQNEC. VQNEC. So it's all good and well to say, hey, you got to manage your time better. But what are the benefits of good time management? You could type right in on the screen your responses, as many as you'd like. Name a benefit of good time management. Nice, Betty. Anyone else? Come on, you know you want to see your name up there. Are you sure, Brienne, you don't have one of these bars at the bottom? Because I tried this on my phone as well. That's funny. Hey, Micah. I'm sorry, Brienne. I can't troubleshoot that. Being able to have things turned in on time, Carrie says. Brienne says, just type it, Brienne. Give it a shot. So we've come up with completing more tasks, more free time to do other things. Betty, what do you mean by that? You mean you don't want to do schoolwork all day? Betty's not speaking to me. We're not on speaking terms anymore. I say empowerment because I always feel really good when I have hit all the things I want to do in a particular day or in a particular week even. I feel really empowered. I feel strong that I was able to get it done. And then Carla says you feel great when you get it all done. So I think we're kind of thinking in the same way. And Micah is 100% right. You don't feel rushed. Is there anyone there that waits till Sunday night to turn in their stuff? Come on, be honest, to turn in their assignments. Do you wait until those last few hours?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. And I never understand this. I'll go in and I'll look at that and I'll say, boy, and if you don't submit something by Sunday, I start looking. I'll be peeking in there. And if you might have received this from me, I'll go down the list. It's very easy. And I send a reminder, just a gentle reminder, and say, hey, remember, the assignment to do this evening. At 12 o'clock, your assignments are due, 12 o'clock Mountain Time. And it's just a gentle reminder that you haven't submitted it yet. I highly doubt that most students have it already waiting, and they're just waiting to press the button. I think there are some students that week after week tend to wait to the last minute, and their work doesn't come out the way they want it to. And Brienne says less stress. Absolutely. You're less stressed. You're not driving your blood pressure up. You're in control, and I think that's the word. And Quincy says getting everything done in time where you could complete all assignments and relax, which helps with the stress. And it goes back to what Betty said. You have more free time to do other things, and maybe there's things you're really looking forward to. While you're in school, you're giving up a lot. You're giving up time with people you love. You're giving up time with friends. You're giving up time with your children. You're giving up things you want to get accomplished personally. You're giving up time at the gym. There's a lot you're not doing when you're in school. So it's important to manage your time well. Some of the benefits are greater productivity and efficiency. People ask me, how do you do all the things that you do? I work for 3 different schools. I have a 13-year-old. How do you run the house on your own? I'm very good at time managing, and you may be too, which is an excellent quality. You have a better professional reputation. Are you one of those people that are a go-to person at work where they say, we know this person can get the job done and on time and in good order? Again, some of you predicted this. Less stress, increased opportunities for investment, and of course, greater opportunities to achieve important life and career goals. Okay. So what are the consequences of poor time management? If you've ever suffered through this, what were some of the consequences? mm. I'll put a big one up here, all in caps. Nice, Alexis. Yeah. And look at mine. That's the word you absolutely don't want to see. I know. I've been doing this job for 20 years. If I give someone lower than an A, they feel like they failed. You know, I didn't get an A. I failed. You go, but you got a B plus. Yeah, but still, I failed. You have personal goals that you want to achieve. And so consequences of poor time management could be missed opportunities, built up deadlines. So now you're at it, well, if I didn't do it this week, it's got to carry over into the next week. More stress, I like Carla talks about disappointment, feeling that, and I think that ties into guilt that Alexis talks about. So you're actually making this yourself more stressed because you feel disappointed and guilty. You're mad at yourself for not being able to manage your time well. I like Micah, very detailed, stress to the point where your brain wants to shut down. Yeah, because you're building up more deadlines for yourself. And you get to a point where, you know, and I know you've all been there, where you can't think anymore. You go, you know what, I got to shut down for the day because I simply can't think anymore today. And so that all manifests itself. And then it says more pressure on yourself, which does not help the stress. Nice, Brienne. And Quincy, you fall behind on your work, like you feel like you can't do it, and that's important. You contemplate giving up. I'm going to ask this to you, and whoever wants to weigh in, just take yourself off mute. What percentage of students in their freshman year do you think drop out of college?
40% or so.
40%? Anyone else? 60%. So 6 out of 10 of you will drop out and not come back. And if you look at some of the people in class who may be older than you, I have students well into their 50s, and they tried college when they were younger, and they weren't good time managers. And they say, you know what, I can't do it. And they believe that lie year after year after year after year. And some of them are not coming back because they want a job or they want a degree. They're coming back at 55 and 56 years old because they want to prove to themselves that they can do it. So you get into that routine, you try it once, and like all of us, you say, you know what, I tried it, I failed, I can't do it. And you talk yourself out of the great life that you're planning for yourself and for your families right now. So consequences of time management. My battery's getting low, so I better plug in here. Missed deadlines, inefficient workflow, poor work quality. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I see this. I'll often go back, I'll say, boy, this person looks like they didn't even put in 2 minutes on this assignment. What happened? And I'll see that they handed it in 2 minutes before the deadline, you know, and you just know that they were grasping at anything. So a poor professional reputation, a stalled career, and as you guys guessed it, higher stress levels. We're going to look at a video. So I have to go back to sharing my screen with you. Just one person ring in and let me know when you can see the screen. How about Quincy? He's quick on the draw.
I can see it, yeah.
You can see it, okay. I'm going to play a video for you, and Quincy, I'm going to ask you to stay with me and just tell me if you can hear your end.
Yep, you're perfect.
Okay.
Many of us use to-do lists to manage our tasks and projects. But when we have a lot on our plate, these can quickly turn into an overwhelming jumble of unresolved tasks, future goals, and date reminders. This is why often it's more effective to use an action program instead. These bring together short-term tasks with medium and long-term goals and ideas. This gives you a well-organized approach for managing all of them together. As such, action programs help you plan and prioritize many projects without losing control or forgetting any of your commitments. To create your action program, make a list of all the things in your life that need resolution. Include personal goals, to-dos, projects, and reminders. Make sure you identify everything you need to do, whether urgent or not. Your next step is to look carefully at each item you've identified. Do you really want to take action on this? If not, take it off your list. You're now going to organize and prioritize your list to create what's called a project catalog. To do this, group together all the items that belong in larger projects. For example, repainting the office, installing blinds, and sorting a water cooler could go into a new office project. Once you've created your project catalog, identify any projects or tasks that you've asked other people to do. Move these to a new list called the Delegated Actions list. Finally, work through your high priority projects. Move the logical small actions, the ones you want to progress, onto a next action list. This is now effectively a new form of your old to-do list. It's just that only specific short actions are outlined here, while the major projects they belong to are stored in your project catalog. As you use your action program, you need to make sure you review and update it regularly. Delete or archive things you've completed and move tasks from your project catalog to the next action and delegated actions list when appropriate. And add any new tasks and projects in the relevant section as they come up. An action program will help you manage and progress many projects simultaneously. Learn more about how to set one up in the article that accompanies this video.
So I think what you have here is something you could use in your classes. So, you can create catalogs like that for each of your classes and start moving the items over. It's just worth a try if you're struggling with time management. Okay, Quincy, can you see my page again?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you all, what types of distractions keep you from completing your tasks? So this is personal to you. You can check off as many as you like.
I have a teething baby.
I think that would go. Does that go into family? I don't know who said that they were answering my questions, but I couldn't hear them. And that is true. I can't hear you. If I'm not responding to you, I'm not ignoring you. Okay, we're still waiting for a few people to participate. Okay. So here's what it looks like. It looks like a lot of you are taken up with family. Looks like family and work doesn't seem to be playing a role. I'm surprised. I thought work would be more. But it's definitely family obligations that are keeping you from doing these kinds of tasks. So what can you do? I mean, short of the teething baby, you can't leave the teething baby alone. But what do you do to minimize interruptions? This is something I struggle with, having being a single parent and having a daughter. How do you make her know that you're working or you're attending a course? Lead others by example. I think one of the things I've said to them is throughout her life is, why don't you bring your computer in here and we'll work together? And, if the child is old enough and mature enough to do this. You can't say this to a 3-year-old or a teething baby. But lead by example. If you're in a quiet place doing your work, you invite them into that quiet space, but they have to be quiet. Focus on a single task at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. We talked about stress and the feeling of failure and guilt and not making yourself feel very good because you've overwhelmed yourself. And I think we're talking about in the discussions. I just started talking about this today with one of your peers, Nishi. And the question is, do we overextend ourselves and say, well, I'm going to do absolutely everything. I'm going to go into that critical thinking class and I'm going to complete everything by Tuesday. And then it doesn't happen. And then you get, you feel like a failure, and then you put it off, and then things get in the way. So focus on a single task at a time. Avoid unnecessary meetings. If you don't have to meet with somebody, and it's hard to do, especially if you've got good friends or close family members, sometimes you have to say no. Use assertive closers. In fact, I was watching a video and it said, if you're in a situation where somebody comes into your office or somebody comes into your space, you stand up, because that immediately, if you have something to do, it immediately sends the visual message that you only have a brief time. Because why else would you be standing? You're obviously not going to be working from a standing position. You stand up, you hear what they have to say, and you tell them, I have a meeting. I did this with my daughter. I told her today at 4:30, I said, I have a WebEx tonight. And that now she's at an age where she understands, oh, that means quiet. Now if I could just teach my mother who's upstairs to be quiet, I'll feel successful. But have an assertive closer. I'm done now. Another thing I'll say to her is, I'm at work now. I'm not here. Because I work from home, there's that infringement on your personal space. And if she sees me, she'll ask me, I'm at work now. I can't hear you. And it takes some practice to do this. Visit others. Go to people that you know are going to interrupt your day. I know you're thinking about someone. You know who that person is. I have one too. I know she's going to interrupt me. And make the first phone call or go to that person and see them if it's in a work situation. And so you're cutting it off before it happens. Instead of them coming and infringing on your time, you go and meet with them first, give them their 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then go back to your work. Okay? Be honest and learn how to say no. Okay, so what are some things that distract you from your schoolwork? And I know the teething baby has to be on there. So look at all those things, right? For me, many times it's meetings or being mom's taxi. I've got to take my daughter here or there or pick her up. But she's in camp, but you have to keep track of their time. Then you have a needy mama's boy Brianne has. He's only 4 years old. He needs her attention. And that's a really hard age, Brianne. Some of those strategies may not work. You can try it, but it's hard when you see that cute little face looking at you saying, Mommy, will you take me to the park? You say, it's either that or write my paper on time management. I think I'll take my son to the park, Micah very honestly says, myself, not being able to manage my time. And maybe this week he will get some of those strategies and try to implement them. The one that we just showed you in the video is very, very advanced. That's for people who kind of have it together, but I don't think I would recommend that strategy to Micah. It might be start a to-do list. It may be as simple as that, or the one that I did in my own voice thread, which is a little less difficult than the one that I showed you in the video. Daughter, when they need help with homework too, what do? Do you say to your daughter, go fail? But that may be the perfect opportunity, Betty, for you to call her into your room and set that example of Mommy's doing her work and you're doing your work, and let's do a half hour of your work, and maybe it's just about setting time aside for her. Having family stop by unexpectedly, again, you may have to not answer the door sometimes, or give them the 15 minutes and do I'm sorry, I'm really in a rush, I'll come back at the end of the week and talk to you, or let's make a lunch date. Quincy says working 2 jobs, and that's really, really hard when you're working 2 jobs and trying to balance school. So I'm looking forward to his participation this week and seeing how he does that, because so many of our students are like that, where they're working 2, even 3 jobs. How the heck do you get your work done? And then work calling and texting me. Lance, I know that. I get it from the students too, but I invite you to call and text me. But, it does get in the way. And sometimes I'll see a text come in, and it's after 9 o'clock, and I want so bad to answer it. But most of the time I won't, because I want to set that example that I have 12 hours a day when I can be reached, and there's time when I have to be with my family. I don't know that you could do that with your work. I don't know what line of work you're in, but I think we all have to get better at asserting our own personal time. And then Cassie says she's got the 2-year-old, and that's, another tough thing. So some common distractions that go on in your head, coffee, you're hungry, you want to go to sleep, or you want to go out drinking, you want to hang out with your friends and family and party. And how about money? I mean, that's why you're working 2 jobs, Quincy, right? You want the money. So all of that, you want to go to the beach, you want to take some time off. All of those are distractions. So what can you do about avoiding distractions? Micah, you may have to, I'm sorry, not Micah. Lance, you might have to turn your phone off, right? Switch everything off when you're going to be working on a task related to school. Work when there is quiet time, when you know the kids are asleep. Prioritize what not to do. I think we all I would like to go fold my clothes right now. I know they're waiting inside, but I have to be here for you, and I had to be here to prepare this. So that can wait. As much as I want to put the clothes away, it can wait till later in the evening. Just say no. And this is a big one. Reward yourself, even small rewards. Say, I'm going to sit here for a half hour. I'm going to sit here 45 minutes and bat out this discussion board. And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to get myself an ice cream. Or I'm going to get up, I'm going to get myself a beer. Or I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a walk for 20 minutes. Reward yourself with something you like to do and hold off. Don't do it. Don't have that ice cream while you're in the discussion board. Commit to yourself that you're going to wait until afterwards. And that's going to be your reward. And it can be something simple. You get all A's one week. Take some of that hard-earned money that you have that is disposable and do something fun with it. Reward yourself. Be your own advocate. Be proud of who you are and what you're accomplishing, because what you're doing here is huge. So that's the end of my spiel tonight. Do we have any questions about anything in the class or anything that we've covered?
Nope, sounds good.
Okay. Keep doing what you're doing. Please make sure to read my feedback to your assignments. Reach out to me. Continue this flow of good vibes. You're all doing a really good job, and that's what I want to see. I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing in this class, and I want you to go forward and feel successful. So if you have any questions that come up afterwards, text me, call me before 9, and or send me an email with your questions, okay? Remember that you only have to do 2 discussions for the week because you did attend this live, but it's up to you if you want to do more than that. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Thank you.
You too.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.